So let's continue. So now that I think of, we won't be manually closing this Moodle. We are going to structure it in the same way as what we did with the create link Moodle, the shorten link Moodle, which is inside the account page, which means that instead of binding a state with the open prop, this thing on the dialog component, we will be adding this component conditionally. So let's do that. Now within the home page, the home component, we first need to have a state, using the useState from React. And let's do that. We can name it as open auth modal and the function to be set open auth modal, and by default it will be false. Obviously we don't want to show it right away. So using this thing, we will be adding the auth modal conditionally by using the double ampersand in such a way. So now we just need to change this state when the user clicks on the login sign up button right over here. So let's add in on click an inline anonymous function where we call this state function with a value of true. So now if we do this and if we head back, as you can see, the modal is closed because the state is false, but as soon as we click on this button, there we have the modal. So that's great. Now we need to work on closing the modal, for which we just need to change the state to be false back again. So for that, on the auth modal, we will be passing in a prop of on close, again an inline anonymous function where we call this state function with the value of false. So now we just need to call this function on the on close event on the dialog component. So over here, let's add in, well, we first need to destructure the prop. Let's do that. On close, and over here on close, we just need to call this thing, and we can also add in the cross button over here. In fact, let's do that real quick. We can actually copy the same thing that we added inside the shorten URL modal. So let's copy the entire thing, this entire thing, and over here we won't be replacing the entire thing because we do need to show the conditional title. So let's add it below this thing for now, and we can shift this title inside the box in such a way, and making sure that we import the close icon as well. So let's do that from the material icons package, and I guess we also need to have the icon button. Let's import that too in the same way. So that is great. And now if we take a look, the handle close, 1 second. Okay, so it's actually on close for this one, as that's what we are passing via the props. And now we do have the button. That's great. And if we click on it, as you can see, the modal has been closed. So that's looking nice, and it should happen even when we click outside because of the on close that we are adding on the dialog. Perfect. So now I think we should be working on the errors. We should be catching the errors while making the request. So for that, like for instance, the user may have entered a wrong password, or they're trying to sign up with an email which already is like it's already just registered, or to say the email is not valid, something like that. So for it, if we wrap these two, like the entire if and else inside of the try catch block in such a way, we can actually get the error object. Let's log it to the console in this way. So by doing this, we are doing the error handling for both of them using the same thing. So now if we take a look, let's open the console. I will be adding a wrong email which does not exist, and it should throw a warning. So there we have it. It's perfect. Within the error object that we get, we actually have a message which is perfect. That's exactly what we need to show. So for this, over here, within the dialog content, somewhere around here, within this dialog content, we will be adding in a box component with a typography for the error message, and we need to show the message over here. So it means that we do need to have a state so that we can update it when the error happens somewhere around here, and we can update the state and we can use the same thing to show the message. So let's do that. Over here, let's create the state and we can name it as error and the function to be set error as such. By default, it will be an empty string, obviously, and we need to change this state whenever the error happens, and we need to update it with the error message that we get within the error object. So over here, we can call the set error method, and within the error object, we have the message as such, and we need to display the same thing within the box that we added over here within the dialog content. So let's add in the error within the typography. Let's also change the color of the text by adding in color on the box, and let's also add in the margin top to be of 2, the color to be red, and I think this should work. Let's test it out. Let me just refresh, and let me just add a wrong email which doesn't exist, something like this. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So that's great. There's one more thing which I should address. One second. If we log the error object and if we take a look, you will see that inside the error object we have the message as well as we have this code. So you can actually wait one second inside the Firebase auth error messages. So if you take a look at the official docs, you will see that over here, well, not the admin one, we need to get the normal one, which should be somewhere around here. One second. Okay, so there is actually, wait a second, it should be Firebase auth and the code, the auth, this thing, I guess. Let's see. Yep, there we have it. So in case you want to display a custom message, you can actually take this code under account, and there is actually a list of all the error codes that the object may contain, like all these error codes. So you can kind of you can display your own custom error message if you want. Like you can add in the switch and the case. You can use the switch case in order to check the error code and display the message accordingly. So that's one way in which you can kind of customize the message. So that being done, let's also try the same thing with the wrong password. If I enter something like this, the password is invalid, or the user does not have a password, which is fine for the default message. But if we try to, if it enter a right password, it should log in. So that's great. And there's one more thing, that in case the user does not enter a valid email, like something like this, it's going to throw a message for that as well. So that's great. It means that we don't really have to check whether or not the email is formatted. Now that being done, I think let's try signing up as well using a different email just to test it out. Well, using the sign up. So that's working. And now within the authentication, we should be seeing the second user as well. So that's great. That's exactly what we want. So now I think we can work on the internal page. There are a few things which we need to take care of, which we need to polish. So let's do that.